Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Thank you, everybody, for tuning into us here on Speaking of the Devils. I'm your host, Ryan Novozinsky, joining you from the Prudential Center Media Room, the site of the Devils' 4-1 victory over the Utah Mammoth today. I was almost said tonight, almost caught me right there. They had a 3 p.m. puck drop today, and just a dominant win over the Utah Mammoth today. The Devils improved to 22-17-2 on the year, a stat that we've been following that I'm going to continue throwing at you guys. They're 14-15-2 since the 8-game win streak earlier this year. And they did there was a whole lot of good today. Starting with the top guys that ended up scoring for the first time in quite a bit, and just Jacob Markstrom finally coming to life as well. But I can't talk about any of this till I know that we are live. So somebody let me know in the comment section below, and we will get started. We are live. Okay, perfect. Zach Chin says that we are live, so let's get this thing underway. We start by thanking our friends over at New Spine for sponsoring us here on Speaking of the Devils with 7 locations. They are New Jersey's leading institute for minimally invasive spine surgery. Live your best life pain-free. Visit newspine.com. That's nu-spine.com. Don't forget the dash. To find a location near you. Okay, so I feel like again, I mentioned off the top of the two biggest takeaways of all is just the play of the top paid guys on the team that finally kind of came to life. Okay, we start with Nico Hischier, who got one today. That was his. He's got 2 goals in 15 games, so it's kind of been tough for him of late as well. Timo Meier scored. He got his first since coming back into the lineup. Dougie Hamilton. Let me see. Dougie Hamilton scored his first goal in 26 games. 26 games. That is unheard of for Dougie Hamilton, I feel like, in years past. But he gets one, and he certainly needed one. Bratt got another one after going cold for a while there. And we'll dive in more on his stats and the other guys' stats later on as well. But, yeah, big picture-wise, I feel like those guys are the ones you hone in on. The other guy you got to hone in on is this guy right here, Jacob Markstrom. Who just had just an awesome performance. Stops 2.14 above expected, as you can see right there from our friends over at Money Puck. Let's see how many shots Utah had so we can see exactly how many saves he made. He made 30 saves tonight on 31 shots, so that was just a baller performance from him tonight. So good to see him, continue to heat it up. And look at this. We have another high-ranking member of the Devils organization joining us right here. Amazing. And speaking of amazing, I mean, we got to just start with the great sequence right there on the Bratt goal which kicked things off in this one. I think it's taken 4 games for the Devils to score first in a game. They finally, and that's been a concerning trend of late. One that I can't believe that I'm tracking again. It seems like that was a trend a couple of seasons ago that we had to follow a lot. But Bratt obviously turns the tide today. Great sequence. Pesce ripped it wide. Bratt picked it up. Nico's right in front, kind of creating a chaos and creating a distraction in front of Vejmelka. And Bratt just tucks it in on the wraparound there. So nice bounce from Bratt as well. That's his 9th goal of the season. He's got 3 goals in 5 games since December 23rd, which is when I feel like the discourse around Bratt really started to, it kind of reached a low point there because we were talking about, he's generating chances and that's fine, but he was even struggling to lift the puck there at times. So that's good for him to. He's finally turning it around, and that seems to be a positive trend, of course. We move on. We have the Timo goal. Timo from way out there. He scored this one, ripped it home from atop the left faceoff circle there. Dursey was in coverage. That was, again, his first goal since coming back in the lineup. I believe it's his first goal in over a month. He has 2 points in the span since he came back in the lineup on December 21st. And I just wrote in my notes here, finishing. That was, again, everybody talked about the process for the Devils, and I know that last stream I think I talked about how that is almost becoming too much of a buzzword to it's become like an earworm for me, like the process. I mean, you're either good or you're not, right? And I get that. I get that if you're getting the chances at some point, they're probably going to go in, but it seemed like for the Devils for the longest time, they just were not going in. So there was no proof, to the counter that these were going to start going in. But tonight they finished and they finished in droves, and that I think that boosted the confidence of the team as well. And by the way, just shout out to Brett Pesce, who got his second assist of the game on this one as well. Couple other notes I have here from the first period. Glendenning with about as prime of a chance as you'll get, and he whiffs on it. He actually had a couple tonight. I think he even had a 2-on-1 with Mason there earlier on in the first. So good for him for generating some stuff, but not exactly hasn't been the best of seasons for him. Let's go. Markstrom, I wrote it in the first, but he might be back. He might be back. I mean, he stopped, as I mentioned before, per Money Puck, 2.14 goals above expected. After the first period alone, he had 1.5 saves above expected. So this is a guy that's, just been lighting it up of late. So it's good to see him getting that confidence back. And I'll tell you what, again, I think the issue with Markstrom is just that you have him for 2 more years after this. So you don't know exactly how that's going to age. It's a problem this year for sure as well, because it wasn't aging well even in the early aughts of this season. But after this stretch, it looks like he's finally coming into his own. All right, period 2. Nico gets the power play goal there. Devils had a 5-on-3, but it expired before Nico scored. And I said at the time, they were way too passive on this one, on that 5-on-3. The MVP of that power play was the guy that was yelling, shoot the puck in the stands. That's the MVP of that draw there. But as soon as the 5-on-3 ends, they finally start just shooting at will. And that was when you started seeing the success, right? Like they were trying to almost create too perfect of an opportunity. But then when the extra man came on for Utah, they finally got it to go. And just a nice little sequence there from Nico. Jack Hughes get it with his first multi-point game since before the hand injury as well. Nice to see from Jack, obviously. Dougie goal gets a nice little Dougie. I mean, this is the guy that needed it the most, right? Sharp angle for him. He was able to rip it home. He needed this one, again, more than anybody. First goal for him, 26 games. His 5th of the season, his 9th point. His first since October 28th, which just, again, like that, it almost doesn't seem real that we're talking about that for a guy in Dougie Hamilton that's just, has been so consistent over his career and is just a few years removed from having a career best season, and that shot always being so lethal. So, but again, good confidence booster game for him. So you'd like to see that. And then, Mammoth scored, Carcone scored, PK was good, I thought, but, Utah still was able to score. Utah spread him out well, and I think this was a little embarrassing sequence from Brett Pesce there, who, again, I'm not going to hone in on him too much because he had such a great night with getting 2 points, obviously, but he actually slid out of position on his knees. So that's about it for my game notes, guys. Just a nice little performance all around for these Devils, and good for them for kind of riding the momentum off of that Columbus game, just such a spirited victory for them and just able to get it done in that regard. So that's good to see. We go on with your live comments, okay? And then, of course, I'm going to post the goal for the Super Chats, as I do. But we will start with these Super Chats, and I'm sure my man Zach Chin. I'm sure Zach Chin is the first one, and I'm absolutely correct. Question of the day. Which bottom 6 combo has been the best? Which bottom 6 combo has been the worst? Good question, Zach. The best iteration, I know the third line right now is Palat, Palat, Glass, and Connor Brown. The best iteration of that third line was always Gritsuk, Glass, and Brown. That's obviously far and away the best line in that bottom 6 that we've seen all year. I think that third line, just by default, is the best of the bottom 6 even right now, because as far as the worst goes, I mean, again, we're just picking through 2. I think any iteration of a line combination that has Luke Glendening on the fourth line this year, I think he's just been he's made players worse at times. He had his chances tonight, and again, I acknowledge that early on in the show, but it just it has not been a great season for him. So that fourth line all season, there just has not been any sort of consistency there. So that's a concerning trend, but I thought they were, they just get hemmed in their zone way too often, and usually it's to the fault of Luke Glendening. Our next Super Chat comes from Zach Chin. And guys, if you want to get your comment answered before anyone, send us a Super Chat, $2, $10, $100, whatever you can do. It really, really helps us grow our channel, and I appreciate you guys throwing us a bone in that regard. And Zach Chin, with some retribution towards me, he's marked safe from being wrong about Markey. Yeah, Zach Chin has been on that train all season long. You've always been a staunch Markey defender, even at times where it kind of seemed like you were a little delusional in that regard, Zach Chin. I don't know what you were seeing, what game you were watching at times this year, but obviously you get your redemption in him having such an incredible stretch here for Jacob Markstrom. Who I'm going to pull up his little stat muse. Let's see, Jacob Markstrom stats. Let's go last 6 games, right? Not last 6 seasons. Last 6 game. Oh my gosh, no, misspelling. He's got a save percentage of 9.14, and he's got a 2.39 goals against average his last 6 games. 2-3-0 record, but I think he's out. He's obviously been the star of the show. I feel like has been Jacob Markstrom. So it's been a really strong stretch from him, heating up right before the Olympics, and that's good for him in getting on Team Sweden there as well. But we go to the rest of the comments now, unless anybody has any other super chats, and we again helps us grow the channel tremendously. So I would appreciate that. Devils Down Under, a really good team performance, which was fun to watch, and we've now got a nice little 2-game win streak ahead of the big one against the Canes tomorrow. Win that one, and we just might be back. I would have to agree with you there, Damien. We're talking about this game, and it was such a nice little team effort for the Devils, especially after that third period in Columbus. But tomorrow is the real test. This is the litmus test for the Devils. This is kind of the, all right, you've done it against a decent but not great team in Columbus. You've done it against another decent but not great team in Utah. Both skilled teams, and one a little more skilled than the other, and Columbus kind of being a team that can wear you down a little bit with the physicality. What can you do against this team that has had your numbers for years now? That has had your number for years. I know that most of that has been on their home ice, but they just forecheck the hell out of you, and they play just such a tenacious brand of hockey that I'm eager to see how this Devils team could do against the Carolina Hurricanes. Future man, that second line is going to catch fire if we keep them together. Really like that combo of players. Yeah, Mercer, Meyer, Gritsuk. I think you see a lot of great chances from Meyer today. You see some excellent chances from Gritsuk. You want to see a better game you want to see a better showing from Dawson, who just has been completely gone missing since in the past 20-ish games. I'll pull up his stats here as well as I filibuster a little bit. Dawson Mercer stats last 20 games. I looked this up the other day, and the results were just pretty abysmal. A goal, 8 assists, and a plus. He's a +4 in his past 20 games. I forget what the exact. Okay, yeah, he's goalless in his last 15 games, 4 assists, plus minus a 0 in his last 15. So yeah, the numbers haven't. He's gone ice cold right now, and he had a really excellent start to the season. So that's not the finish you wanted to see from Mercer. Let's see if he can heat it up. Maybe maybe the break would do him some good. Maybe this Olympic break, but we'll have to see. Stanley says Markstrom was solid today. Could have been a much different game. He's quietly got his game back in order these last couple of weeks. Yeah, for sure. Again, talked about that to death on this episode already. His advanced numbers were awesome, and you just see it in some of the eye tests too. 2.14 above expected. There was a couple sequences here where I wrote Markstrom might be back. Made 2 back-to-back huge saves on, I believe it was Boot and Carconi at the first period, as the first period winded down, and the Mammoth had that power play. So yeah, and look, the fans are chanting into it. The fans are chanting Markey. This is a sign of a guy that's starting to get his confidence back. And if the goaltending's figured out for these Devils, and they start figuring out this scoring issue too, the scoring woes they've had, despite the fact that they've gotten all these chances, look out for this Devils team in the second half of the season. That's all I got to say. Rick Roma, was that you who asked Jack a question? You got a little snippy with you. It usually always is, Rick. I'll just be honest with you. But yes, that was me. If so, great work. We need more tough questions for the guy. And I don't even think this was a tough question. I think the question was just, you're wearing a brace. We all see you're wearing a brace. We see, there's a big mystery. I feel like, the Devils try to protect the status of Jack Hughes better than some top secret government secrets sometimes. And to me, it's just, I feel like we should, there should just be more clarity on it. You're the superstar player. So the question I asked him was just simply, is this a precautionary thing? Is this part of the healing process for you? And all he said was, just in a pretty straight edge tone. I'm just doing what the doctor tells me to do. So there we go. Moving on. Rick Roma, one more win, and that's 3 in a row. That could get do nothing Tom out of hiding. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we do get Tom. Maybe we can get Tom on the podcast if the Devils start going on a little streak here. That would be fun. NJ Skater Dan. You have to I'm doing phonics out here in live time, so sometimes it just doesn't compute. I was yelling at the TV on that 5-on-3 LOL. How bad was that? I mean, that was just pass, looking for the perfect opportunity. I said it before, I'll say it again because I just think this is the best line in hockey. The MVP of that power play, the 5-on-3, was the guy that was yelling shoot in the stands during that sequence because they just were certainly not doing that. Patrick Booth, good to get 2 wins in a row. Sucks that Carolina's next because that's always an automatic loss. But dude, if they do win that Carolina game, watch out because that could start meaning a streak for these Devils, who I think their schedule softens up a bit. Okay, they have the Islanders at the Island, so that's a bit of a test for sure. Penguins are slipping. Jets are terrible this year. Wild, that's a test, obviously. Kraken, they're at the bottom of the standings. Carolina again. There are some very winnable games during that stretch. So let's see exactly what can happen. But I'm eager to see it. I have a lot of expectations for this Devils team going out tomorrow. I know that the sense is that it's going to be an automatic loss just because Carolina's always had your number. But let's just see what happens. That's why they play the games, right? Pat Trolls, let's break the trend and beat Carolina tomorrow. Yeah, I know, exactly. You should that should be the primary goal, is to break the trend, obviously. Don't just get a point out of this. Go get a win. Go get a win in regulation against that Carolina team that's just had your number. Rick Roma, same lineup tomorrow, or is Cotter back in? I don't know why you would change it up, right? Is this team a Juho Lammikko starting away from going on a run here? No, not at all. In fact, that line today had just pretty terrible metrics from what I understand. Yeah, two shot attempts, or 4, and 2 shot attempts, 4, 11 against, hemmed in their zone a lot tonight, as has been the case with a lot of these fourth line combinations this year. I think that's a lot of the fault. The common denominator there always seems to be Luke Glendening. But I think you still run it with that lineup because I don't think that Keefe has liked what he's seen from Paul Cotter lately. Unless it's just a one-game thing. But again, they won the game 4-1 in convincing fashion today. I don't know why you would go away from it. Though I do know that Keefe is all about matchup-based things. So we'll see what happens. But I'm venture to guess that they would go same lineup tomorrow. Patrick Booth, one thing the Devils still don't do enough is pressure the puck for a team that's supposed to be built around strong skating. They love to back off in the D zone, shorthanded. Look shorthanded at even strength. Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's been kind of a concerning trend all season long, right? The first such example of that, and I know that this is an opponent that does that to you. I remember seeing that being, just concerning, was against the Colorado Avalanche earlier this year, where I think they even won that game. But there were so many times they were hemmed in their zone, and they were just not pressuring things. That has to be addressed. I feel like if they play a little more of that tenacious brand of hockey, I keep using that buzzword, but I think it's just so, it adequately describes how Carolina plays, right? Just relentless, tenacious. I think the Devils have that ability because Carolina's not physical. If the Devils don't need to be physical team to forecheck hard, to back check hard, to pressure the puck, as Pat Booth says here. So we'll see if they add that element to their game as the season goes on. Tyler Seba, this felt like this was the best start to finish effort in a long time. Totally agreed there, Tyler. But that bottom six still needs to be improved. Yeah, for sure needs to be improved. I've been of the belief that the Devils need to do something to shake up that fourth line, maybe even that third line. Throw Lenny Yamanaho in there, right? See what he can do. I don't know why Perrant is still in Utica. Get him back up here. He was a spark plug for that fourth line at times this year. I thought he was somebody that could go on a little run himself this year. Rick Roma, Canes play the Avs tonight. Okay. Oh, that I did not realize that. And then have to travel to NJ. Not an impossible game. No, not at all. That's actually crazy. It's a crazy little turnaround for them. Two tough opponents, obviously. I mean, the toughest opponent in the league tonight at Carolina. We'll see if the Devils can take advantage of the of how sloppy. Because I don't even know their record off the back-to-backs, Carolina's, but I can't imagine that it'd be fun to play Colorado and then have to play a fast team in the New Jersey Devils. Rick Roma, again, LeChance and Aminaho look good lately. They do, exactly. I think Aminaho's on a bit of a streak here as well. He had a goal the other night, last night, something like that. I remember somebody tweeted that at me. I think my man Ben Burnell tweeted that at me. So shout out to Ben, covers the Utica Comets well. And LeChance as well. Like LeChance was always the one that I thought would be a perfect like plug and play guy in that fourth line this year. He looked great in the preseason. I know he was injured a little bit, but in that Buffalo Prospects Challenge, which you can't clean too much because they're going against again just prospects, but for him to be turning it on lately is a solid sign for the Devils and what they want to do. Maybe they give him a call up. Guys, that will do it for today's episode of Speaking to the Devils. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Newspine, for sponsoring us here. I'll talk to you tomorrow after the game. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.